Y'all know who it is. Dr. Mary Clifton.
Thank you, Rico, for a great introduction. I have a really fun story today, published in Science Daily, but it was picked up on CNN. It's definitely gone viral. Cannabinoids give worms the munchies too. And this is an article that actually started when a bunch of scientists who were studying nematodes, which sounds a lot like need more toes. Nematodes, that's the scientific name for worms, but worms don't have toes. They were studying nematodes and thought, what would happen if we dumped cannabinoids on them? What would happen to them? And they thought that they thought that it stimulated their appetite. So then they went into deeper studies, really well-designed studies to show how nematode worms react to the chemicals known as cannabinoids in precisely the same way that humans do. Cannabinoids make nematodes hungrier for their favorite foods and less hungry for their non-favorite foods. Nematodes diverged from a lineage of mammals 500 million years ago. They're very old. They have a very basic neurologic system, but they do have a cannabinoid system. And cannabinoids, as we know, react by binding to the cannabinoid receptors in the nervous system. So at the molecular level, these nematodes and their cannabinoid receptors look very much like our cannabinoid receptor system. And this is why the researchers thought adding some cannabis might result in them eating more of their favorite food. And then in further studies, they replaced the nematode's particular cannabinoid receptor with a human cannabinoid receptor. And they found that the animals also responded to cannabinoids with that, which shows which proves this commonality. They found that the sensitivity on cannabinoid exposure mostly resulted in the worms becoming more sensitive to favored food odors and less sensitive to non-favored food odors. So if you're really jonesing for something that you really love, like chocolate cake, and you get a whiff of it while you're high, it's going to be even more dramatically stimulating to your system. The effect helps explain the changes in the worm's consumption of food, and it's reminiscent of how THC makes tasty food even tastier in the humans. So the finding of the worms aren't only entertaining, but it also has significant practical implications. It could be involved in the treatment of a wide range of diseases. And as we know, this was one of the first place that cannabinoids was positioned medically, was in people who didn't have a good appetite because of HIV or end-stage cancer, and they were able to get relief and finally get some food that they could enjoy and keep down with the use of cannabis. So looking at cannabis in worms is going to have some relevance and some value for how we use cannabis in the human model. And I'd like to hear what everybody has to say. Gretchen, how do you feel about cannabis being used on worms?